c'était comme un petit centre d'achat ou whatever.
Je parlais de ça avec Maxime,
Ouais, j'étais allé au stade. Hey, Mr. Dan Beauchamp.
j'ai gagné un instant.
Il revenait.
Pas donné ma défaite hier.
Vous avez pas bien vu, là?
Monsieur, ça va bien? Oui, on t'attendait.
17 secondes en partant.
J'imagine.
On commence dans le 4.
Parce qu'on fait voyageur. Ça va poser des surprises.
Il avait dit, je suis pas ça.
Il se met à scorer dans les séries, puis les gars font les arrêts, c'est fini.
C'est ça. Mais ça, il n'y a pas de cote pas beaucoup.
C'est qui est arrivé, mon âme, le même gars que ce qu'on joue au golf.
Le même gars. T'es où, monsieur?
C'est où? Tu peux voir. C'est ça, là. Je sais pas, je sais pas.
Ben, moi, je suis allé.
Ah, t'es allé au NPT au bord?
C'est ça que ça veut dire.
Parce qu'il y en a un à 11h15.
Je sais.
Les potes s'ouvraient.
On me fait têter, ça me dit ça. Puis, t'as de la presse, puis tu resteras là pour le 11h.
Des extraits,
Si j'arrive là,
des béquilles.
qu'est-ce que je vois la porte est fermée, il n'y a personne. C'est pour voir encore. C'est bien trop tôt, c'est 11h. Ben non, 9h à 10h.
Hey, au moins, t'étais pas
Pas ici.
Au moins, t'étais pas assis en dedans là, ok, hop.
Oui, c'est ça. Fait que là, j'ai regardé mes courriels que vous envoyez. Puis là, ben, j'ai vu que, parce qu'elle m'a dit Angus, j'ai vu Angus ici.
Fait que ça m'a trompé de bord, là.
Ouais, fait que je me suis emmené ici, puis je l'ai appelé, puis je suis emmené ici.
Ça va bien? Ouais, ça va bien, ça va bien. Oui, oui, il est dans le...
Je l'ai appelé pour aller ici. Elle a dit, j'ai dit, envoies-tu quelqu'un?
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
C'est ça, le premier but, 17 secondes.
Ben, c'est parce que c'est moi qui ai dit à Benoît, j'ai dit,
Après-midi,
on va faire ça.
le bureau à
Mais ils ont juste envoyé, j'en ai à ça.
Tu venais pas voir?
Je sais pas.
Là, je commence. À une semaine et demie, je t'ai fait faire. Même toi, Dan, tu me comptes tes péripéties de voyage aussi. J'ai rien vu de Martine.
On était des acteurs, des comédiens.
Ok.
C'est pas sexy, Dan?
Non.
Non, j'ai ça.
Moi, je vais avec mon téléphone.
OK.
Parce que sinon...
à peu près une minute d'avance là-dessus.
Ouais. Ouais, j'ai vu qu'on était pas à l'heure.
Sur le 7, là, il prend trop d'avance.
Elle perd son temps.
Non, il prend de l'avance.
Ouais, c'est ça, il perd le temps comme il reste pas à bonne heure. Fait que là, on va faire 30 seconds, 30 secondes. Heads up, everybody.
Good morning. I'm here this morning to ask why the government of Justin Trudeau has refused to put in place any protections for the privacy rights of Canadians with the revelation of the hack that occurred at Clearview AI. The hack of the Clearview AI user list has revealed widespread access to this technology that has not only the power to infringe on the basic rights of Canadians, but may have been driven by the illegal access of the personal photos of millions of Canadians. And yet we've seen no leadership from the government on putting in basic ground rules to protect us from the abuse of this technology. We now learn that individual police officers and detachments across Canada had access to the Clearview AI app. Windsor, Ottawa, Toronto, the RCMP, the OPP, Hamilton, Edmonton have all used this technology. And when the RCMP was initially asked, they denied using it. And then they changed their story once the user list was leaked. The OPP say they only learned that their officers were using the APP after a media inquiry. So does that tell us that individual officers were engaged in using Clearview AI without any oversight? We learned from Ottawa Police that Clearview AI technology was made available to individual police officers to download and try out for free again. Are there no standards in place? This is something that Minister Bill Blair has to explain, how it's possible that the government is not looking to put in place basic protections. Because Clearview AI said that this was strictly used as a police tool. But we now learn that this tool was used by all manner of individuals, businesses, repressive regimes, and even rich men to keep tabs on their daughters. The potential for this technology to track our personal lives and our movements is positively dystopian, and we deserve basic protections from our government. Now, I understand the police argument that this technology could be a very valuable tool in going after child predators, and I totally agree. That's why I ask, why was there no judicial oversight? Why were there no standards in place about how it was being used? Because it's equally clear that the potential to abuse citizen rights is enormous. So, the question I want to know is, has Mr. Bill Blair made any calls to the RCMP about using a technology that may have been based on illegally obtaining database of Canadian citizens? Was the RCMP aware that the technology was being used by individual officers? Did this come from above or did this come from below? If they did not know, then why not? Who on the forces had access to this technology? And how was the technology obtained through Clearview AI? And the question that we need to know is, has this technology been used in any way to target other potential cases? And I bring to you an example. Right now, we know the RCMP are the provincial police forces in many provinces. Jason Kenney has introduced Bill 1 to go after Indigenous and environmental protesters. There's already questions about the legality of that legislation being put out. Will the RCMP make a very clear public statement that they will not use this invasive technology to build databases on environmental and Indigenous protesters? Mr. Bill Blair needs to explain if he's going to stand up for Canadian civil rights on this issue. In terms of the overall government response in protecting Canadian privacy rights, I give the Trudeau government a total F. Minister David Lametti, the Attorney General, has been asleep at the switch. He's refused to put in place a moratorium on this technology, even though jurisdictions across Europe and in many municipalities in the United States are already moving because they recognize the threat. This past week, the government walked away on their promise on a digital charter of protecting and updating privacy rights because they said they're not ready. I mean, what are they waiting for? We have the Privacy Commissioner in federal court fighting Facebook to protect Canadian citizen rights without any help from this government. We have the all-party committee report on protecting privacy that was ignored by this government. And now we have widespread use of an invasive technology that may be illegal, and still the government says they're not ready to protect our privacy rights. That's not good enough. I'm asking the government, what are they waiting for, and what tools will they put in place to protect the rights of citizens? Je suis ici ce matin pour demander pourquoi le gouvernement libéral a refusé de mettre en place des réglementations pour limiter l'exploitation de la technologie de reconnaissance faciale. L'exploitation du programme Clearview AI, c'est clair. Il y a un potentiel pour menacer la vie privée des Canadiens et les Canadiens, et le refus de la police d'expliquer l'utilisation de cette technologie, ce n'est pas acceptable. Lorsque les médias ont demandé à la GRC si l'utilisant la technologie, ils ont refusé de répondre. Mais après le hack d'information à Clearview AI, ils ont admis qu'ils utilisaient cette technologie. Ce refus d'être clair a diminué la crédibilité de la GRC. M. Bill Blair, le ministre, doit expliquer comment la GRC utilisait une technologie, quels sont les règlements en place pour protéger les citoyens et comment ont-ils établi leur relation avec Clearview AI. Cette entreprise fait l'objet d'une enquête pour les violations possibles de la loi canadienne. Alors, je comprends le pouvoir de cette technologie pour aider la police, pour arrêter les prédateurs des enfants, mais aussi c'est très clair que le potentiel pour les abus des droits vie privée des Canadiens. Par exemple, cette technologie pourrait être utilisée pour cibler des manifestants autochtones et environnementaux. Il y a un besoin pour établir les réglementations pour protéger la vie privée et les droits civils. Le potentiel d'une technologie pour suivre nos mouvements et notre vie privée est dystopique. M. Trudeau et son gouvernement doivent expliquer pourquoi ils refusent de mettre en place un moratoire sur cette technologie. Je suis choqué que le gouvernement libéral dit qu'il n'est pas prêt à mettre en place la protection ou pour augmenter les lois canadiennes pour protéger la vie privée. Ce n'était pas crédible. Le potentiel d'abus de cette technologie est très clair. Il y a un besoin que le gouvernement impose un moratoire et augmente les lois canadiennes pour protéger nos citoyens dans le monde numérique. I'll take any questions.
What kind of conversations have you had with the Liberal government about your request to put a temporary ban on Clearview?
We haven't heard anything from Mr. Lametti, the Attorney General. I'm very surprised. We have seen no movement by Bill Blair to say what rules are going to be put in place. It looks to us, from what we're seeing from the media, that the police are using this in a Wild West fashion. It was being downloaded by individual police. Sometimes superiors didn't know. We don't know how it was being used at the RCMP. Was it being used from on high? Or was it being used just because Clearview made it available to a whole bunch of police officers to try out and see, hey, check out this cool technology? There are no rules in place, and we've seen nothing from the government.
Obviously, the Privacy Commissioner's review will take time, so will a parliamentary committee study. Besides this request, is there anything else that you want to see in the immediate now to deal with this issue that we see headlines every day?
Well, we really need the RCMP as the nation's police force to come clean with Canadians, because they damaged their credibility by denying to the media and refusing to say that they used it, and then only coming clean once the hack released the fact that they were users of it. The RCMP need to tell us under what circumstances are they using Clearview AI or other apps that are being put forward. That's a pretty straightforward question, because these are fundamental questions about the rights of citizens to privacy. If the police are using it to go after sexual predators, as they said, well, we can certainly do that under judicial oversight, and that would reassure Canadians, but we have had no reassurance from the RCMP. So that's the first thing that we need. The second is, will Minister Bill Blair send out directives to police about the utilization of this technology, because we're seeing no willingness of the government to put in a moratorium. So without a moratorium, at least we need regulation. But I would, at the best, hope that the government will say, like other jurisdictions are moving towards a moratorium, let's put a moratorium in place. We're going to have the Ethics Committee, Privacy Committee look into this technology. We have an excellent investigation underway by the Privacy Commissioner. The prudent thing to do right now is for the government to say, stop this, and to make sure that other apps that may be out there are not being used to exploit our personal stories, our personal lives, and to be put on a market that may have a lot of abuse for individuals.
Would these directives be wise if that review isn't done yet, if the committee study isn't finished?
At the very least, a moratorium protects us, because right now what we've seen from the Clearview AI hack is all manner of people had access to this technology. We were told this is strictly a police tool, Well, if it's a police tool, then the police tool has to be used under very specific circumstances. Instead, we see individuals have been using it. The story of the rich guy checking out his daughter's boyfriend in a restaurant, to me, is very disturbing, because the problem with a technology like Clearview AI is that it is a creeper's paradise. If you have access to that app, you can check out anybody you want. You can track them. You can find out where they're going. The fact that the police used it and didn't tell us has compromised their ability in case we are dealing with illegalities that are being used with this app. So, the very least, put a stop to it. And then let's put some rules in place to protect citizens and privacy rights.
And do you want to just see that moratorium on the police use of this technology, or technology of this kind in Canada?
The police are using it, but we know that it's being used by individuals. It's being used by corporations. We know that shopping malls have been using facial recognition technology, that a drugstore was using facial recognition technology. The potential for abuse is enormous, and the potential for someone to be tracked or stalked, or for children to be targeted, it's very clear. This is not sci-fi, this is reality. So we need to stop this technology right now, stop it dead in its tracks, and lay down some ground rules about whether it's going to be used, yes or no.
You've talked a lot about before about wanting judicial oversight potentially in this area. Like, what can you talk a bit about more what you hope the committee comes up with, kind of draft parameters around this technology? Because as you said before, there's also some benefits as well. RCMP says they were able to rescue 2 children because of this, and there's the privacy side as well. So what are some of the, like, what's the parameter that you're looking at?
Well, when we rely on machine-driven artificial intelligence to target our lives and make decisions about us, we are going into some very rough terrain. We know that facial recognition technology has a staggeringly high rate of misfires when it comes to racialized, non-binary, Indigenous. Well, hey, if the police are targeting Indigenous protesters, if you're a racialized citizen, I mean, the United States, the abuse of this technology has been clear. That's why they're putting in moratoriums. So the misfires on this technology are enormous. But since it comes from, we trust artificial intelligence, we trust technology, but we don't see the hidden biases. So I'm hoping our committee can look at how often this technology misfires, how it can be abused. Because when I post the photos of, my kids' barbecue in the backyard to Facebook, I'm not posting that so it can be put into a database so people can track my kids. But that's the danger with this technology. So what are the limits to how the technology is used, and who has access to it? So if we're going to talk about it as a police tool, just as if the police want to listen in on your phone conversations, they get judicial oversight. That's very straightforward. That's something that we could do with this technology. Other uses of this technology by shopping malls, by companies, by individuals, I'm feeling at this point we probably deserve an outright ban, but our committee can hear witnesses from across the board, and hopefully we can bring recommendations, and hopefully the government will move on it.
And if the Liberal government hasn't responded yet, have you sent out feelers to your colleagues on the other side, Conservatives, Bloc? It sounds like you'll probably need some support from the other parties to get anything.
Well, I would point to in the last Parliament, the Privacy Ethics Committee all-party report that had Conservative, NDP, Liberal support that pushed the Liberal government on protecting privacy rights, because we saw from the Facebook hack that the power to take this kind of data and misuse it can actually upend elections around the world. So we worked very well across party lines because we recognize that the right to privacy, the right to protect citizens is not a partisan issue. I've had very good conversations with my colleagues on the Liberal side, with the Conservatives as well. I think that this committee is going to do, I'm hoping we can do very, very good work, cutting edge work. We're getting interest from other jurisdictions who are very interested in the fact that Canada is taking this up, that the Canadian Parliament is taking this up. So we're going to be looking internationally to get advice. I hope that our committee can bring recommendations to the government, but I think in the meantime, the fact that the horse is out of the gate with this technology, the fact that it's already being used and misused, let's get that moratorium, lay it down. Let's have Bill Blair tell us how the police are using it and how the police should not be using it, so that we got a period of pause so that we can do reflection.
What other jurisdictions have shown interest?
Well, we've been talking to certainly the United States. This is a huge issue. We've talking to Europe, which is looking at Europe's looking at a 5-year ban across the board. I think the fact that the Canadian Parliament is taking this up, we've developed, I think, a reputation internationally because of the work we did on the privacy rights during the Cambridge Analytica scandal. So Canada has been punching above its weight. Our privacy commissioners are recognized. It was the Canadian Privacy Commissioner, Elizabeth Denham, who did so much of the heavy lifting in the UK study. So we've developed a lot of relations internationally at our committee, so we are going to be working with them. Thank you.